Hey there, this is Sam Smith with JP and Associates Realtors. I'm coming at you on April 7th, 2020. As you know, we are in the midst of a lot of uncertainty. Things have become sort of a new normal, but there's still a lot of questions, and especially where it comes, where I get questions, obviously, is in real estate. I have a lot of people that I have talked to or heard from who have been wary of trying to buy a house and who've asked me what's the market like and everything. It's still humming, which is a good thing. People always need to move at some point. You know, there are always people who need to move. But one of the biggest fears, I think, is that it feels like we're going into a recession. And those of you who are old enough may recall in 2006, 2008 timeframe, there was a massive housing bubble and crash, and it was, home values just went to the very bottom, and, it was just a mess. And if you have any questions about that, I highly recommend a movie called The Big Short. I watched it. It made me really frustrated. Of course, that was before I got into real estate, so I was only partially paying attention at that time. But I will say that movie is extremely eye-opening. And for those who say that right now it feels like we're moving into the same sort of situation, I want to reassure you that all indicators are that we're not going in that direction. There were a couple of things going on back then. And that was, mortgage lending standards were just abysmal. I mean, it was so easy for a person to get a loan. It was almost impossible not to get a loan. And so that really contributed to a real financial collapse, personal financial collapse, and then across the nation, across our economy. Another thing is that even though home prices, we know in Central Texas, prices have been going up consistently, but, across the nation, it's not out of control. And it is sort of, based on demand. And that's another reason why I think that we're okay, is that real estate prices are based on demand, but the thing is, right now, and for the past several years, we've had a inventory shortage, and that's why the prices are going up, in a big way. But in 2006, 2008 timeframe, inventory levels were very high, which typically what we want to see is about 6 months worth of inventory. And I won't go into the math here, but I can tell you separately if you'd like to know how that works. But whenever you have less than 6 months of inventory, that's obviously a shortage, which drives prices up. And then when you have more than 6 months of inventory, that drives prices down, or it can potentially, depending on the area. Back in 2006 and 8, there was about 8 months of inventory. Right now we're operating, I think, around 3 to 4 in the Austin area, which is, we're sitting pretty as far as, like, is it a good idea to make an investment in real estate? Yes, I will say that it is. And then, back then I know things are changing every day, and a lot of people have uncertainty in their jobs. And there was an economist, or I can't say who it was, but there was someone who was projecting, kind of once we all started quarantining, was projecting 30% of Americans would lose their job. I think it was taken a little out of context. He said he could see how up to 30% of Americans could be out of a job. I don't know what those projections are, what the current thought process is. That was from a couple of weeks ago, but that did not mean that 30% of our country was losing a job. I know so many things are on hold right now, and it's really hard to plan. But that's the other reason why I think everything's going to be fine in real estate, because as soon as this stuff gets back to whatever the new normal is, I've had a feeling since the beginning of this that as soon as it gets back, we are going to be so busy, and there's going to be so much competition for real estate, for residential real estate, that it's going to be is still a good investment. We might see prices go up. So I'm not saying that they will, but and of course we have to see what happens with the mortgage rates. And I know some people, I talked to someone yesterday who said, well, mortgage rates are really low right now. And I said, well, give it 45 minutes. It's kind of like Texas weather. Just hang around for a little bit and it just seems to go back and forth. Lenders that I know have said it's just bouncing day to day. There was one day, I think it was early last week, where it was one of the historically low interest rates. And then by the end of the day, it was higher than it was a year ago. So don't really bank on the mortgage interest rates, but just if you can look at it as an overall investment, I think you'll see that this is still a very good time to buy real estate. So I'm posting this video on, obviously Facebook Live, but I post it on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to any of my social media to keep up with what I'm posting throughout the week. And I'm working to give you new and exciting information all the time. And if you would like, I can also send you emails or subscribe you to my blog, where I actually have a good infographic that I'm about to post on samsmithrealtor.com that will has some graphs and stuff that will show you a visual representation of what I've just been talking about, and a little more information. All right, well, I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Until tomorrow, take care.